How would you feel if history is no longer what you remember it to be? Maybe you never lost your virginity, or your great-granddad was never the president of the United States. It just so happens that in this anime, after the Great War ended with humanity's victory, the world suddenly gets overwritten right before the eyes of a boy named Kai, and he does what he can to fix it with several beautiful ladies by his side. Kai, a fine man that you wouldn't want your girl anywhere near, walks up a staircase and sees a mysterious girl all chained up. She has an angelic look, but her wings are dark and menacing, almost demonic. She's desperately calling out for help, but Kai is baffled. Why would a supernatural being, especially one this powerful looking, need the help of a mere human like him? Or better still, why is a sweet-looking girl like this all chained up as if she could end the world if she held a sword? This world has been torn apart by constant battles among the 5 races: demons, humans, celestials, spirits, and mythical beasts. Each race has its own powers and agenda, and humans are often caught in the crossfire. Kai's job, as part of the Urza Federation, is to guard a graveyard that holds sealed demons so they don't break free and spark another devastating war. One night, we see Kai on his graveyard watch duty, keeping a close eye on the seals. His friend Ashran thinks Kai's a bit too intense about it, since no demon has escaped in 100 years. But Kai isn't one to slack off. He takes his duty seriously, knowing the world would face total chaos if any demons escaped. To stay sharp, Kai also trains daily, even challenging a holographic version of a mythical beast. It's risky, but Kai believes training isn't worth it unless he's pushing his limits. His friend Saki, though, is worried about him overdoing it. She admires his determination, thinking that if he'd been around during the Great War, he'd be legendary like the hero Prophet Sid, or maybe she just wants a piece of his meat. Prophet Sid was a figure from Kai's world's past, a hero who used a divine sword to defeat 4 powerful warriors from each race. But Sid's story is shrouded in mystery, with no real records or proof that he ever existed, just legends passed down over time. Saki and the others don't pay much attention to these old tales, but Kai does. He remembers that the 4 heroes were so strong that without Sid, the world would have been lost. Meanwhile, they're planning a little celebration for Jean, another young soldier who's just been promoted to the Federation headquarters. She's the youngest to achieve such a rank at just 17, and Kai is proud of her success. Jean, on the other hand, insists on keeping things humble, secretly inviting Kai to meet up without telling Ashran and Saki. They meet early one morning, and Jean asks Kai to help her shop for gifts. She's looking for something special for their friends, since she won't see them again for a long time. Kai promises her that they'll reunite someday, but she's worried about the future. Then, things take a strange turn. Out of nowhere, Jean starts to disappear, sucked into a strange black void. Kai watches in shock as a mysterious voice declares that the world is about to reincarnate, and suddenly, he finds himself in a dark, twisted version of his own reality. To his horror, he faces a massive demon that attacks him without mercy. Kai fights back, using his sword and a special set of elven bullets that cancel out the demon's magic. But just when things seem hopeless, someone throws a flashbang, helping him escape. Kai looks up to find Saki, but something is different. She doesn't recognize him and claims to be part of the human resistance fighting against the other races. This new world is a nightmare for humans, who lost the Great War and now live hidden in underground cities. Saki explains that humanity has been pushed to the brink, and Kai's devastated to learn that this world's history is different. His own world's hero, Prophet Sid, doesn't even exist here. Determined to find out what happened, Kai makes his way back to the graveyard. When he arrives, he sees the legendary shining sword, the proof he needed that Sid's legacy is real. He reaches out and grabs it, and a powerful voice grants him a world coordinate key, opening a massive door in front of him. The light fades, and Kai finds himself in an unknown place where he hears a girl crying for help. Climbing a long flight of stairs, Kai finds the same girl from the beginning. She's bound in chains, her wings a strange mix of angelic and demonic presence, pleading for Kai to release her. I know my boy is about to spread some cheeks tonight. Kai doesn't trust demons one bit, but Rini doesn't look like one. After hesitating, he decides to help her. He tries to cut through her chains with his sword, but they're tough as nails. Bullets don't work either. Just when he's about to give up, Kai remembers his special weapon, the Code Holder, a legendary sword that once saved humanity. Kai calls out the sword's name, and it transforms into a radiant golden blade. With a single swing, he shatters the chains. As Rina falls, he catches her, but she freaks out and tries to get away. She accuses Kai of being a demon sent by someone named Vanessa, and she's ready for a fight. Kai tries to dodge her attacks, but one of her energy blasts catches him, making him regret helping her. Before the blast can hit him squarely, he slices it in half with his sword, shocking them both. Finally, Kai manages to explain that he's human, not a demon. Rina apologizes, explaining her hatred for demons is so intense that she attacks without a second thought. She's impressed by Kai's strength. I know she wants to give him that Q, Hawk Tua, but they're interrupted by a strange creature emerging from a portal. The monster, with a twisted plan to destroy the singularity, tries to capture Rina. Acting fast, Kai frees her from the monster's grip with a slash of his sword, then grabs her and jumps through the portal back to Earth. Kai and Rina end up in a graveyard. She's overwhelmed, not just because of her terrifying experience, but because Kai helped her, something she's never experienced from anyone. Kai tries to comfort her, sharing his own loneliness, saying everyone he knows has forgotten him. He realizes something is wrong with this world. Demons rule over humans, a stark contrast from the human victory he remembers. Rina, confused, recalls a time when humans were beginning to beat the demons back. She was fighting alongside a hero. They both realize something must have changed in this world, and it doesn't align with their memories. They leave the graveyard and head to Kai's house, where she can rest. On the way, Rini marvels at human technology. Her odd behavior in the city draws stares, but Kai reassures her she's safe with him. At his place, Rin relaxes, while Kai reflects on his sword, the code holder, and its mysterious powers. Just then, Rin calls for help, unable to turn off the shower. After he helps her out, they talk about how strange this world is compared to their memories. Rina wonders if there's a way to return to their old reality, where humans won the war. Later that night, alarms blare as demons break into the city. Kai realizes humanity is in real danger without a hero. He rushes to help, directing soldiers on how to fight back and using water and grenades to ground the demons. Rina joins in, using her own powers to keep the demons at bay. They fight together, and Kai realizes they're not just trying to survive, but fighting for humanity's hope. After the fight, they're taken to meet Jean, a leader of the resistance. Kai's knowledge of alternate timelines piques her interest, but she's skeptical. Kai explains how they once knew each other in another world. Her curiosity is piqued, but right now, they've got a lot of demon slicing to do. Jean lays out a plan to defend the remaining human territories, but Rene worries it'll attract even more demons. Kai believes there's a simpler solution. Take down Vanessa, the demon hero. Jean thinks it's a crazy idea, but Kai's confident that with his code holder, he stands a chance. He assures her that while the resistance distracts the demons, he and Rene can confront Vanessa. Jean is swayed by his determination and agrees, and they start preparing for the fight of their lives, ready to bring back hope to humanity like Power Rangers prepping for a final boss fight. The group arrives at their destination. Jean rallies the soldiers, reminding them how hard they've fought for this moment. Her words echo through the ranks, charging them up as they proceed through an underground passage. Kai is shocked to find the government palace in ruins. The demons guarding it waste no time, attacking with ice magic. Kai counteracts the spells with bullets and a swift sword strike. Rina wipes out the rest of the demons with her magic, though Kai takes credit, claiming it was one of his bullets. As they proceed, Kai asks Rina if she can sense Vanessa. She confirms Vanessa is on the top floor. Jean and Phylan lead the way, though Phylan warns that some of the stairs are down, so they take an alternate route. Soldiers stay behind to guard the entrance, while another team heads underground to free prisoners. As they climb, Phelan notices Kai didn't fire the lightning strike earlier, realizing it was Rini's doing. Jean checks in with Kai, asking if he's truly ready to face Vanessa. He assures her he's ready. Suddenly, they encounter demons. One even manages to grab a soldier like a piece of meat, but Phelan swoops in and saves him, holding off the demon while the others advance. Soldiers clash with more demons while the second group succeeds in freeing the captives. Jean presses on with her team, but a sudden lightning attack hits her. Her elfin garment, a magical shield, protects her, leaving her unharmed. She explains its magic resistance properties, instilling confidence in her squad to keep pushing forward. Moving on, Kai and Rene don magical armbands to stay hidden from the demons. The barrier magic bends light, effectively rendering them invisible. As they creep forward like roaches, a demon nearly spots Saki, but Rina stops her from attacking, letting the demon pass by without noticing them. They reach the breaker room, and Kai instructs Saki and Aslan to stay there and cut the power if things go sideways. He promises to signal them when it's time to escape, and he and Rina press on. The alarm suddenly goes off, catching Kai off guard. Rina assures him her barrier is intact, leading him to suspect the building's infrared sensors might have triggered the alert. Just then, demons appear like flies, but Rin flies Kai to safety, blocking the demons as she tells him to continue. Though he's reluctant, Kai heads toward Vanessa, leaving Rin to handle the demons. Sensing every race's scent on her, the demons are baffled, but Rinna brushes it off and charges her magic, prepared to fight. Kai finally reaches Vanessa's room, finding her to be a striking succubus. She taunts him for a piece of his huge meat and his meatballs, but my bro didn't flinch. Their conversation turns tense as Kai reveals he's from a world where she was defeated. Vanessa dismisses his claim, unimpressed, then hurls a flame spell at him, which he deflects with ease. Astonished by his resilience, Vanessa conjures a massive attack intended to obliterate anyone in her path, shaking the palace to its core. But Kai, wielding his sword and code holder, withstands it, impressing Vanessa even more, and now she really wants him to spread those cheeks of hers. Suddenly, Rinna arrives, blasting Vanessa with lightning. Though injured from her prior battle, she was too worried about Kai to stay away. Rin warns Vanessa that she'll fight her to the death if necessary. But before their clash can continue, a monster appears from a portal, binding Vanessa in an attempt to exorcise her from this world. Vanessa fights back, severely injuring the monster with a fire spell before it retreats. Seeing Vanessa's unbridled power, Kai realizes the intense strength Rinna has been up against, and even Rin admits that this version of Vanessa is scarier than any she's known before. Rinna launches at Vanessa, tackling her hard, and shouts at Kai to get moving because she can't hold Vanessa back for long. A shadow prison barrier goes up around Rinna and Vanessa. It's spirit magic, just not enough, as Vanessa breaks through fast and Rinna is thrown back. But Kai charges in right then, and Vanessa, noticing him, redirects her blast toward him. Kai blocks most of it but ends up looking pretty beat up. Rinna's left staring, blaming herself, thinking she got Kai killed. Vanessa mocks her, asking if Rin plans on avenging Kai or running away. Fed up, Rin releases her full power, transforming into a form showing traits from all 5 races. Vanessa's amused but soon loses her smirk when Rin lands a solid punch. Now, they're fighting toe-to-toe, but Vanessa's just been playing. Curious about Rin's form, Vanessa taunts her, saying she could have saved Kai if she'd just let loose earlier. Vanessa wonders if Rin held back because she feared being called a monster. Kai's dead because Rin didn't go all out. Rin decides to take Vanessa down with her. She grabs Vanessa's hand, activating a curse. Blood droplets start seeping from Vanessa's skin, her life force slowly oozing out. Normally, this curse would end Vanessa, but Vanessa has backup, a massive curse circle in her base. It drains magic from spirits, celestials, and beasts, which hits Rinny 3 times as hard. Rinny, left weak, can only apologize for not being useful. Vanessa, annoyed, readies a final blast, but Kai blocks it just in time. Somehow still alive, she summons a mini meteor and launches it at him. Kai, slicing it apart with the code holder, shocks Vanessa. Impressed, she launches hell flames, but Kai quickly cuts the power, making the room go dark. Vanessa realizes she can't sense him. Her hell flames only reveal shadows. She targets Kai's sword, the only source of magic she can track, but Rini's holding it while Kai sneaks behind her. Years of training pay off as Kai lands a powerful combo, ending with Rin tossing him his sword to deliver the final blow. Vanessa, admitting defeat, mutters, "Good game, human." As she collapses, Vanessa's memories rush back. She recalls everything about Sid, who warned her of something called world reincarnation. Kai, hearing Sid's name, presses her for details. Vanessa explains Sid foresaw someone would alter history, causing the world to change, and warned her to protect the code holder. That sword is key to restoring the real world. Vanessa admits she used to see Sid as an enemy, but came to respect him after a tough battle. She tells Kai he fought well, saying she'd love a rematch one day. Exhausted, Kai drops to his knees. Relieved they defeated Vanessa, word spreads fast, and soon human survivors gather at the Ura Federation, celebrating a chance to rebuild. Jean, a former ally, thanks Kai and Rinne, explaining their victory will help unite humans to take back the other fallen federations. She asks Kai and Rinne to join her on this mission, promising they'll make a strong rebel alliance. Jean motivates the soldiers, reminding them they've finally slept soundly without fearing demons. The troops rallied, energized for the journey ahead. Meanwhile, Kai quietly tells Rini that he's ready to end this 5-race war himself, determined to find whoever messes with the world's timeline and put everything back in order. As they join Jean and the other soldiers, Kai resolves to become humanity's hero, bringing hope to a world that's been turned upside down. Rina dreams of fleeing from a terrifying monster with Sid by her side, giving cryptic advice. She wakes up in a car headed to the EO Federation. Ashran is floored. They're already on another mission, barely rested from battling a demon. But Saki explains they have no choice. Help requests flood in, and Jean is the last hope. She hopes the capital is rebuilt by the time they return, while Ashran just hopes demons don't retake it. Kai's mind flashes back to their last battle. As they were cleaning up, Rina sensed demons. They found nothing but soon got trapped in a barrier. Vanessa's sister, Haim Moral, appeared, launching an attack. Kai cut through her assault, and Rina shut her down. Kai demanded to know her intent, and she introduced herself as Haim Moral, the new top dog after Vanessa. She taunted that Kai only defeated Vanessa due to a series of lucky breaks. Kai wondered if she was there to avenge her sister, but she laughed. With Vanessa out, she held no grudge. She was even grateful. She let Kai in on a secret. Demons could retake the capital anytime but chose not to. She hinted that both sides needed a break. Otherwise, other races might strike. She proposed a truce, offering the humans the capital if demons got the rest. Kai agreed to pass her message to his commander. In the present, Kai gathers his team. Their mission now is to join forces with the EO Federation's rebel army against the Celestials. Saki remembers Celestials are an alliance of elves, dwarves, fairies, and angels. Jean, over the comms, announces a rest stop is 2 kilometers away. Suddenly, Rini spots a dragon above. It's odd, as they're in demon territory, but Kai tells everyone to prepare. Jean orders the convoy to speed up, but the dragon is too fast. Soldiers fire, but bullets barely scratch it. Rini then uses her lightning magic, and with Kai, they drive the dragon away. Afterward, they stop to treat injured soldiers. At camp, Kai feels guilty about taking up tent space. He offers Rina to sleep in the female tent, but she declines, uncomfortable around so many humans. Jean and Feon enter, and Kai realizes this is the officer's tent. Feon warns him not to get funny ideas, as Jean will be without armor at night. Later, Jean, Rina, and Kai sleep in the tent, but Kai barely gets any rest, squashed between Jean and Rina clinging to him. By morning, Ashran notices Kai's exhaustion, but assumes it's from guarding Jean, and Kai doesn't correct him. Zephan, the advisor, warmly greets them, happy that news of Jean's victory has brought new hope. He introduces Dante, their commander, who's paranoid and obsessive. John quickly requests to speak with him. Dante, however, is annoyed, assuming she's here for glory. Jean clarifies they asked her for help, but Dante reveals his subordinates did so without his consent. They soon hold a strategy meeting. Zephan explains the layout of celestial territories, and Jean realizes they have no idea where the celestial hero is hiding. She offers to lead a scouting mission. Dante dismisses the idea, saying it's reckless, but Jean insists, determined to help the soldiers risk their lives. After the meeting, Rina convinces Ashran to cook something exotic she remembers, though it looks so strange that Ashran doubts its safety. Meanwhile, Ashran casually remarks about Quab's beauty, surprising Kai to see Rina curious too. The next day, Jean scouts the forest with rebel troops, while Dante grumbles that generals shouldn't risk their lives like that. He worries about Jean's influence on his soldiers, but Quab assures him not to worry. As Jean returns, she drafts a map of her findings, revealing elves' patrol routes and an invasion strategy. She motivates the soldiers, and they're eager to work with her. Above, a castle looms dark and heavy. Inside, Alria tells the dwarves and elves that the angels plan to cut all ties with them. Shocked, the dwarves and elves listen, but someone notices the monstrous figure near Alria. Without explaining, Alria suddenly attacks. The Elven Grand Elder meets his attack head-on, but can't match his power. Swiftly, Alria traps her in a crystal prison. The force of his magic creates a whirlwind that sends the Elven Shrine Maiden falling from the castle, crashing deep into the forest below. The Shrine Maiden pauses, but then forms a plan. Meanwhile, in the Elven Forest, Jean's forces have lost contact with Dante, last seen the morning before. Jean wonders why he would risk entering the dangerous forest. Kai suspects that Phi might be an elven spy, pointing out how elves can pass for humans by simply hiding their ears. Jean worries that there could be other traitors within their group, and she decides they must investigate themselves. Phelan asks for a rear flank report, and after hearing everything's clear, Jean reassures her trust in the group. As they press forward, Phelan notices some broken guns and guesses they belong to their army, likely due to a hidden trap. Jean says it was easy to avoid, but Kai warns that the true threat is above. They look up to see a trap laid in the tree's leaves. Jean realizes it's a clever trick. Kai explains he read about such traps in his old world. Just then, Rina catches an elf's scent, and they follow. Suddenly, they step onto a gate spell, transporting them into the elven village. Startled, they gather their bearings as a great fairy chasing a butterfly bumps into Ashran. Mistaking him for an elf, she soon realizes he's human, and she bolts for the village. The group chases after her, only to be met by elven guards preparing to attack. Quab arrives and stops the guards, surprised they activated the gate spell. Jean demands to know about Dante and the others, and Quab explains they're alive but paralyzed by a plant. Kai is shocked to hear that Alria, the hero of the Celestials, has captured the Grand Elder. Re-Iron sadly explains that Alria has changed. Once warm and kind, he now demands that elves, dwarves, and fairies bow to the angels. When they resisted, he captured their grandfather. Fane, ever cautious, asks for proof of Reiron's story, worried they might walk into a trap. She warns him that if he tries to flee from Alria, she won't let him leave the forest alive. Trying to shift the topic, Kai asks if she knows someone named Sid, but she says she hasn't heard of him. The next morning, they prepare to enter the Angel's Palace. Kai notices the gate's double-layered defense, wondering if it's a countermeasure against humans. Reiron laughs, saying they're more worried about other races. Once inside, they're hit by the smell of burning flesh, spotting angels barely alive. As they ascend, Vicious, a servant of Alria, appears. She attacks, and Fawn and the others hold her off, letting Jean's group rush ahead. Finally, they reach the floor leading to Alria's lair. Reiron deactivates the barriers, and as they ascend, they spot the Elven Grand Elder, who looks up in shock at their arrival. Alria appears, fuming with anger that humans dared enter his palace. He proudly declares that all blessings come from the heavens, and only angels deserve such divine gifts. Vicious then lunges at Fawn and the others, but Fawn quickly counters, striking back. Vicious realizes Fawn's sword was forged from a drake's fang and comments about its explosive power. Fawn snaps back, mentioning that Alria is trying to enslave the Celestials who create these magical items, calling him arrogant. But Vicious coldly replies that humans can't even grasp their lord's grand intentions. Meanwhile, Rin fights Raffalo, who is surprised she can shatter his divine guard. Though he admits she's a threat, Rin is annoyed by how calm he is, thinking all angels look down on others. Raffalo asks about her species, but she says she doesn't know and doesn't care as long as Kai is with her. At the top of the castle, Alria announces he's going to execute the Elven Grand Elder. Reiron recalls her childhood with Alria and furiously charges at him, but he strikes her with a red blade. Kai jumps in, blocking Alria's attack, which makes Alria wonder if Kai is human or maybe an elf in disguise. Kai simply replies that he's just human. Alria, confused about why Kai would protect an elf, tries to make sense of it. Kai calmly explains that if something happens to Reiron, the elves would blame humans, so it makes sense to help her. Alria notices Kai's sword and is surprised when Kai mentions it once defeated Vanessa, the hero of the demons. Alria is amused that a human beat a demon hero, but Kai points out that unlike Alria, Vanessa wasn't busy killing her own people. Alria, with a superior tone, declares he's the noblest, brightest star, dismissing subordinates who disobey. Jean then takes a shot at him, scratching him with an arrow. Alria mocks her for not understanding the weapon she wields, but Jean just shrugs, saying she's focused on taking him down. Alria rings a bell, summoning a thunder spell, but Jean's elven garment protects her. Alria is enraged that a human wears elven garments and wields celestial items, launching another thunder attack. Reiron quickly shields everyone with her magic, impressing Kai. She tells him she doesn't want to owe the humans anything. Together, they decide their best shot is to fight Alria 4 against 1, and Reiron realizes that freeing the Grand Elder is the top priority. The scene shifts to Rine battling Raffaello. She attacks, but he dodges, hinting he might be holding back. He then strikes, but she dodges and counters with a powerful blow, shattering his helmet. Meanwhile, Fawn faces off against Vicious and instructs Saki and Aslan to target her wings. Vicious dodges, but Fawn finally lands a blow, weakening her. Vicious, surprised, he realizes Fawn had a tip from a man from another world, then concedes defeat. Raffalo also surrenders, hinting Rina may hold the power to free the Grand Elder. He urges her to go, revealing he and Vicious had been waiting for this moment since Alria's change. Vicious, regretful, asks Fawn to apologize to the Grand Elder on her behalf. Fawn, unaffected, lowers her weapon and lets Vicious know she underestimated her by not taking to the skies. At the castle's top, Alria orders the Riser to attack Kai and his friends. The Riser's shockwave hits Jean, but Rhine saves her, and Jean thanks her. Alria, bewildered, stares at Rina, wondering what kind of being she is. Kai and Rine recognize the Riser and question Alria about the world's reincarnation. Alria is clueless, but Kai's mention of the Prophet Sid triggers a strange reaction in Alria. The Riser suddenly attacks Alria, trying to erase him from this world, and he vanishes. But then, a black pillar of darkness appears, revealing Alria transformed, with darkened wings and fierce new power. Alria, filled with arrogance, declares he's the only important being in existence and unleashes a fiery spell. Rina tries to block it, but her barrier shatters, leaving them all injured. Reiron shouts that Alria is burning his life force, but he sneers, insisting he's the brightest star. Enraged, he attacks again, but Reiron's barriers hold strong, though they start to crumble. Alria slashes through her last defenses, injuring her, and Kai steps in, telling Alria he's nothing but a shadow of the hero he once was. Kai faces off against Alria's massive, regenerating bot, clashing swords, and realizing that every time he shatters Alria's sword, it somehow reappears. It's clear this magical sword is why Alria managed to crush Ray Iron's defenses. Alria calls this strange power the work of the gods, and says he has no need for celestial help to rule, but Kai stands firm, saying heroes are here to protect the people. Alria brushes Kai off, calling him a weak human from a small, unimportant race, and he vows to show Alria the strength and spirit of humanity, which he says grows from the hardships they face. Alria's sword becomes even larger, slashing down with a force so powerful that even Kai, a highly skilled swordsman, feels the strain while deflecting each blow. Kai clearly has the edge when it comes to swordsmanship, but Alria has endless tricks up his sleeve. At one point, Alria decides he no longer needs his sword, and then things take a darker turn. He starts pulling the entire floating palace apart, piece by piece, right in front of everyone. Ray Iron, fired up by the destruction, decides it's time to finish Alria once and for all. She asks Jean for strength, and together they launch a massive magical arrow. They only have one shot, so Ray Iron tells Gan not to miss. Gan fires the arrow, and its sheer force rips off half of Alria's body. But the girls, now totally drained, can do no more. Alria, furious, screams to the sky in rage, but Kai sees his moment. With all his strength, Kai flips Alria and lands a final, devastating punch. The power leaves Alria's body, and he falls to the ground, defeated. As he lies there, he realizes the irony. He who once looked down on everyone now lies on the ground, powerless. Just then, Alria regains his senses as the palace begins crumbling. He shouts for everyone to escape and tells Ray Iron he no longer deserves her respect. Alria takes full responsibility for everything that's happened, asking Ray Iron to deliver a message to the Celestials. This moment gives Kai déjà vu, as it reminds him of what happened with Vanessa. Alria then admits that he was given a cryptic message by Sid, who was frustrated about something he couldn't quite understand. Alria explains that anger was behind the world's reincarnation and tells Kai that he's earned his respect for risking his life to save an elf. Alria, now rooting for Kai, urges him to break the cycle of hatred, and with that, Alria disintegrates, leaving nothing behind. Kai then apologizes for not telling Jean sooner, and Jean mentions that non-humans are usually feared, but Kai defends Rinnan, saying she fought alongside them and saved lives. They agree to keep her secret to avoid trouble, and Jean, curious, asks to touch Rinnan's wings, causing her to giggle as Kai watches. Ray Iron realizes the Elder's deal is clever. The chosen guide is essentially a hostage, at risk if the truce breaks. To her horror, she's chosen as the guide since she stayed close to Kai throughout. She fumes, feeling like she was picked on a whim, while Rinnan's jealousy flares up, accusing Ray Iron of stealing Kai's attention. Kai is just relieved to have a capable ally. Back at the rebel headquarters, Jean informs everyone of the truce. Dante reflects on their recent victories, realizing they'll now face greater challenges and need stronger alliances. He suggests joining forces with the Lion King Bayman, a respected leader, though Dante feels a bit insecure, sensing Fawn's high regard for Bayman. As they strategize, a mysterious fox figure, Wrath, meets Kyoka, the hero of the spirits, to discuss past failures. Tensions rise quickly, and Kyoka accuses Wrath of deceit, only for Wrath to coldly state that it's time for the spirits to vanish from this world. Kyoka hears Wrath's challenge, and it's on. She dashes off, but Wrath is on her heels, relentless. Wrath kicks her down, trying to stomp her into the dirt, but Kyoka won't give in. She transforms into a water blob, enveloping Wrath to choke her out. But Wrath's no pushover. She bursts into flames, forcing Kyoka back. That doesn't stop Kyoka, though. She grabs Wrath, dragging her through the forest and slamming her into the ground, leaving a crater in her wake. It looks bad for Wrath, but suddenly Last Riser emerges from her back, seizing Kyoka's face and trying to use the Zero Code. It's too late for Kyoka to escape, and she's blown to pieces. Wrath thinks she's finally won, thanking Last Riser, but she isn't entirely convinced Kyoka is gone. Meanwhile, Kai and his team make their way through the forest. Re-Iron explains the path they're on is used by huge hedgehogs called Okra Chuchin, who love gold and could crush a car if they wanted to. Saki and Ashran exchange nervous looks at the thought of these giant creatures, but Re-Iron assures them the odds of getting squished are slim. Rina isn't thrilled about Re-Iron sitting next to Kai, but Re-Iron argues she has to give directions. Plus, her enchanted clothes make her look human, so they're passing her off as a Foundation representative. Jean calls in, checking on their status, and Re-Iron says they're on track to reach their destination in 3 days. Fallen notices a strange, eaten-away part of the forest, suspecting it's from a mythical beast, which means the beasts are crossing borders now, making the journey even riskier. Back at the battle site, Wrath examines the remnants of Kyoka. Frustrated there aren't enough pieces to confirm her death, deciding to leave it for now, sure she'll get another chance. Suddenly, a tremor shakes the camp, and they see a mythical beast, a behemoth. Kai recognizes it, firing a special bullet that manages to hurt it. Fine joins him, and they dodge around, attacking, but it's not enough. Fine blinds the beast with a flashbang, and they all retreat. Kai realizes this beast is far stronger than what he faced in his world. Gan orders the soldiers to form up, but they're low on heavy artillery. Fawn volunteers to stall the beast, but John refuses to retreat and asks Kai for a weak point. He explains that the behemoth has a magical organ as its Achilles heel. Jean thinks fast and suggests using the forest's resources. Reiron leads the beast into the woods, where Kai releases paralytic mushroom spores. The spores disorient the behemoth, and Rinna unleashes a lightning spell, stunning it. Kai seizes the moment, firing a close-range shot. The beast stumbles but still presses on. In desperation, Reiron activates a teleportation circle, trapping and burning it. They celebrate, but Jean notices Kai's injured shoulder. Rinna, distraught, blames herself, and Kai reassures her it's no big deal. He was just protecting her. While the team patches Kai up, he slips into a strange dream. A mysterious voice calls him chosen by fate, and Jean, waking, reveals she heard it too. Kai remembers a location from his vision and asks Reiron to guide them there. They head to an old structure, which Jean realizes wasn't built by elves. Kai identifies it as a megalith, a special structure used to seal off races in his old world. But here, no one seems to know about it. As they approach, a voice invites them inside, calling them the Chosen Ones and claiming they're in the center of the world. Reiron can't hear the voice, leaving Kai and the others unsettled yet curious as they step toward the unknown. Rin steps inside and hears a voice echoing from within the building. Kai tells Reiron to stand guard outside as the others go deeper. Once inside, Kai observes that the place looks like a graveyard, and Rin senses a powerful magic, a kind that feels like her own. They head down a hallway and enter a large room where a statue stands. G speculates it might be an ancient temple. Kai isn't sure, but something about the statue seems familiar. Suddenly, a voice greets them as the children beloved by fate. They look around, puzzled, before realizing the voice is coming from the statue itself. The voice claims it's currently powerless and introduces itself as a being from a world where a great war ended, waiting for someone to replace Sid. Kai is shocked to hear this, as Sid was a legendary figure who once ended the War of 5 Races. The voice goes on, explaining that it's the prophetic god Arsa Salaka, also called the Praying God, who could see the future. Kai is stunned, as he thought the prophetic god was just a story. But this god says she has protected humanity for ages. She then reveals that she created the Code Holder, a special weapon to safeguard humans. Kai remembers hearing her voice when he pulled out the Code Holder, and she's glad he remembers, saying that she's happy he received the weapon in a world without Sid. Gon asks what the god wants, and she responds with a prophecy. The god used her power to create the Code Holder, and because of that, she's unable to prevent the world reincarnation, a strange phenomenon that rewrites history. As a result, Sid's existence has been erased. Jean finds this hard to believe, and wonders if everything they've fought for is a lie. The god clarifies that, thanks to her, humans are still fighting, and that is the only truth in this altered world. The god then turns to Jian, declaring that she should take Sid's place as humanity's hero. Jian is shocked, but the god explains that she has watched over humanity's struggles and believes Jian has the potential. While Kai also has strength, he wasn't meant to be in this world originally, which is why the god chose John. When John asks what she should do, the god tells her to lead her people in battle and defeat the heroes of the other races, restoring the world to its true form. As they prepare to leave, Kai notices Rin seems unsettled. She admits the voice gave her mixed feelings, both comforting and eerie. Kai reassures her, saying that if the voice is from the one who made the Code Holder, it's likely not an enemy. They exit the building, and Reiron asks what took so long. Jean brushes it off, calling the statue strange. They continue onwards, and Reiron spots a tree bearing winter sage fruit. She asks Rinna to pick some for its healing powers. While traveling, Reiron makes juice from the fruit, but Rinne warns Kai not to drink it, as it smells horrible. Reiron insists it's safe, taking a sip herself, but she immediately vomits. Still, she argues that the worse it tastes, the stronger its effects, and serves some to Kai. Against Rina's advice, he drinks it. Jean announces they're nearing the Ulan Federation border and warns everyone to stay alert. Looking out the window, Saki spots a strange triangular building, and Kai suggests it might be a graveyard for the spirit race. They stop to investigate, and Rinna alerts them they're surrounded. Slimy creatures drop from the sky, and the group opens fire, but regular bullets don't work. Jean orders a retreat, but Fine keeps fighting. As they struggle, soldiers with incinerator guns arrive and start burning the creatures. The group realizes the soldiers are from the Ulen Federation's resistance. The leader, Bamong, greets them, offering a warm reunion to John and Fine. Just then, more spirits appear and trap them in a bubble-like barrier. Their weapons fail to break through, and Kai realizes they'll need something special. He uses dwarf-made bullets, creating an opening so they can escape. They regroup, and Bamong praises Kai, but Jean clarifies that Kai is her friend, not just a subordinate. They proceed to a lake, where Bamong explains they were investigating strange happenings in the area. Rine suddenly realizes the lake isn't just water, it's a spirit. The water begins to shift, revealing itself as Kyoka, the hero of the spirits, who angrily declares they are in her way. Kyoka sends a huge blast of water at Kai, and he barely jumps out of the way, avoiding being hit. Without wasting time, Kyoka changes the water into a massive wrecking ball and smashes one of the vehicles. With no other choice, Kai goes on the offensive. He uses his sword to slice Kyoka right in half. To make sure she stays down, he orders Belong's soldiers to fire everything they've got, and they start burning Kyoka's upper body. But she doesn't even flinch. Instead of fighting back, she absorbs the fire and puts herself back together, taking a calm breath. Kai knows something big is coming, so he warns everyone to back off. Then Kyoka lets out a huge wave of flames, but Kai pulls out the code holder just in time to block it. Everyone is safe, but Kyoka seems to recognize the code holder, even though it's her first time meeting Kai. Spirits aren't supposed to speak, but suddenly, she starts recalling memories. This triggers the Last Riser's sensors. It's ready to act. Kai is confused because he's sure he heard someone speak, but spirits can't talk, right? Kyoka cuts in, demanding to know why he has the code holder, which is meant for a specific human. Kai is still shocked by hearing Kyoka talk. He presses her for answers and asks if she's talking about Sid. Kyoka hesitates, but when Kai mentions Sid's name, her memories flood back. She remembers hating Sid, seeing him as the enemy of all spirits. But at the same time, she admits that Sid made her smarter. She had learned the human language just to understand what Sid was saying when he locked her up. Sid had mentioned something about reincarnation and how it was only the beginning of a bigger disaster. Kai wants to ask her more questions, but before he can, the Last Riser appears out of nowhere and grabs Kyoka's head, ready to destroy her for mentioning Sid's name. But Kyoka is no stranger to Last Riser. She breaks free from its grip and fights back. Realizing it can't take her down easily, Last Riser retreats. Kyoka puts herself back together and lands on the ground. She says she's done fighting for now, but Belong doesn't trust her. He thinks it's a trick. Kyoka calls him an idiot, offering a ceasefire. Belong insists she started the fight, but Kyoka just shrugs it off, saying it was a misunderstanding. She thought they were attacking her while she was regenerating. Kai is still curious about what Kyoka was recovering from, so she explains that she had just finished fighting Wrath, a battle she describes as brutal. However, she admits Wrath wasn't as dangerous as Last Riser. Kyoka explains that while most heroes fight for their own race, Last Riser isn't from any race. It's pure hatred, an enemy to all living things, and they need to find a way to stop it. Beilong is skeptical, still seeing spirits as enemies after all these years of fighting them. But Jean steps in, agreeing with Kyoka. She explains that Last Riser has attacked not just humans, but demons and celestials as well. Jean thinks a ceasefire would help all races, and after much hesitation, Belong agrees. Kyoka, having made her point, says she's leaving, but before she goes, Kai asks where she's headed. She gestures toward the Black Pyramid in the distance. It's where she first met Last Riser after Sid disappeared. The others have mixed feelings about the place. Vanessa hates it, Alria is disgusted, and Kyoka is cautious. The only one who welcomed Last Riser was R, and they've been working together ever since. Curious, Kai asks if Wrath is working with Last Riser to gain power, but Kyoka shakes her head. Wrath is too proud to rely on others for strength. He has bigger plans than just winning a war. Kai and the others decide to follow Kyoka to the graveyard. She asks for his guidance since he's familiar with these kinds of places. Kai leads them to the entrance, and they soon find themselves in a chamber where Kai once discovered the code holder. As he inspects the pedestal, the code holder reacts, and a message from Sid plays. He apologizes for his failure and leaves a final request to whoever holds the code holder to go where he could not. The code holder projects a bright light, and a portal opens, pulling everyone through. They land on a mysterious platform, and Kai realizes he's been there before, but he never got the chance to uncover the truth behind the place. The group follows Kyoka, sensing a powerful energy ahead. Eventually, they come across something shocking, a statue of Alria. But it's not just a statue. Alria is trapped under a petrification spell. Reiron believes she can break the spell, but Beilong wants to destroy Alria while she's vulnerable. Reiron steps in to stop him. Kyoka examines the petrified Alria and realizes that it's not ordinary petrification. It seems like she's frozen in place by the Zero Code. Just as the group is starting to process what's going on, Last Riser appears again. It announces a defense protocol and starts targeting everyone with connections to Sid. 3 of them are marked for destruction, and the others are teleported away. Kai figures that Last Riser sees anyone with memories of Sid as a threat. There's no choice but to fight. Meanwhile, Jean and the others are teleported to fields outside the graveyard. Jean wants to return to help, but Belong questions if she can stand a chance against Last Riser. Jean admits she's unsure, but reveals that she has a last resort, the full power of her elven gear. Reiron warns her that using it will shorten her life, but before Jean can act, the portal closes. Back in battle, Kai, Reiron, and Kyoka continue fighting Last Riser. Kyoka attacks with a powerful water blast, but Last Riser erases it with the Zero Code. Kai tries to strike, but barely scratches it. While Kai keeps Last Riser distracted, Kyoka checks on Rina, who is too terrified to fight. Kyoka absorbs some of Rina's magic and powers up. With a brief break in the fight, Kyoka traps Last Riser in ice and shatters it. But to everyone's shock, Last Riser reforms and comes back stronger. It's clear that Last Riser can regenerate, especially in this dimension. Kyoka realizes they need to escape. Kai explains that the last time he left, he used the code holder to tear a hole in the dimension. Though Kyoka isn't happy to rely on the code holder, it's their only option. As they escape, Kyoka grabs Alria, which causes Last Riser to panic. Kyoka uses Alria as bait to lure Last Riser out. As they flee, Last Riser reflects their fire attacks back at them, but Kai blocks it with the code holder, tearing open a hole in the dimension. The group jumps through, with Last Riser chasing after them. Back in the real world, Kai weakens Last Riser with the code holder, and Kyoka finishes it off with a powerful lightning spell, reducing it to ash. But just as they think it's over, they hear a loud boom from the graveyard. A more powerful version of Last Riser emerges, stronger than ever, and it declares its intention to erase them all. Rina remembers how Sid couldn't stop Last Riser from capturing her. Kyoka tries a self-destruct attack, but Last Riser survives. Everyone attacks, and Jean decapitates her, but her head keeps singing. Reality starts to twist, and suddenly, everyone except Kai, Rina, and Last Riser disappears. Last Riser changes into a copy of Sid with a copy of the code holder and challenges Kai after sending Reen through a portal. Reen is chained up again, but she breaks free and comes back. Together they destroy Last Riser, but reality shifts again, and Kai passes out. When he wakes up, Reen confesses her feelings and almost kisses him, but Jean and Reen interrupt. The 3 girls argue, jealous over who deserves Kai while he's confused about what's going on. Kyoka survived, but she shrank to only a few inches tall after using all her mana. The humans and spirits agree on a truce, leaving the Alfreya statue in the monolith until they can figure out what to do. The Arsla Solaka statue starts to crack. She warns that Last Riser is still alive, and Kai and Rinny's troubles are far from over. With that, Kai and his group prepare to go after Rathai. Bro was literally warped into a world that felt like he was never born, but after meeting all this baddies, I'd say he's gonna have a good time. Though this is the last episode of this season, let's hope there'll be a season 2. And if you'd like us to recap it when it comes out, comment big beautiful melons. Okay, just kidding. Don't comment that. Just make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on our next upload.